So today is July 20th, 2025, and unfortunately, 8 years ago we lost one of the greatest voices in rock music and in music in general, the late great Chester Bennington. I would like to make this video of ranking all Linkin Park's albums from worst to best on a tier list, and in honor of his 8th anniversary of his passing. So right here we have the tier list. We have S tier, which is peak Linkin Park albums. The second tier I do have "Bring Me Home in the Blinding Dream," a lyric from Castle of Glass, and this is for the albums that are great but they're not peak Linkin Park. The third tier I do have "I Found Bliss in Ignorance," which is a lyric from "I've Given Up," and this is for the albums that are like good but they're not great or peak Linkin Park. Then for the fourth tier, I do have "I Become So Numb," a lyric from Numb, and this is for the albums that are just okay. They have like a couple good songs, but nothing special. And the last tier I do have from Given Up as well, "I've Given Up," which is albums that only have like one or two good songs and everything else is just filler or bad. So we're gonna start with their debut album, Hybrid Theory, which is actually the best selling debut album of the 21st century and the second best debut album of all time, underneath Guns N' Roses. And this album, come on, this album is great. It's S tier. It has amazing songs like "One Step Closer," a banger, "Forgotten," a song that I do love, uh, "By Myself," "With You," an underrated song. Come on, man. Uh, "Paper Cut," and of course the legendary song, and I think the best song of the 21st century, which is "In the End." That's a feat. That is a classic. Everybody knows this song. Your mom knows the song. Your youngest sister knows the song. Your grandpa knows the song. Everybody knows the song. And if you don't, you must be Patrick because you're living under a damn rock. All right, but yeah, S tier, "With You." That's probably my favorite on this album. And what a time. Second, all right, so their second album in 2002, was it? Meteora. Meteora is a great album, and it's actually a great follow up. And of course, S tier again. This album is amazing. Honestly, a great follow up to Hybrid Theory. It has songs like "Don't Stay," "Somewhere I Belong," "From the Inside," and of course, another legendary song, "Numb." This album is quite cohesive, which is an amazing thing for any album. Uh, and honestly, I think it's better executed than Hybrid Theory, so I might put it above Hybrid Theory. Yeah, yeah. It's a better album than Hybrid Theory, but I do think that Hybrid Theory has higher highs, but it also has lower lows than Meteora. The third album, and in my opinion, this is my favorite album by the band, and it's "Minutes to Midnight." I will have to put it in "Bring Me Home in the Blinding Dream." It is an amazing album, but I can see that it's not a classic, even though it does have songs like "Leave It All the Rest," and of course "What I've Done," "Bleed It Out," "Shadow of a Day," "What I've Done." And there's also like some underrated songs on this album, such as "The Little Things You Give Away." That's a very hauntingly beautiful song, and one of their best. I think it might be their best closer. Um, this album is amazing. I love it. I think this is my favorite album. I will not put it. I don't think I'm gonna put it in S tier because it's not as memorable and legendary as these two, but it it's an amazing album. Rick Rubin on the production, classic, amazing job. Then we have their fourth album, "A Thousand Suns," and this album got a lot of hate. Minister Midnight did as well, but this album got a lot of hate because this was the first album that wasn't like rock at all to an extent. This was more EDM, and it had a lot of political uh, entendres on this album. But honestly, Bring Me Home in a Blinding Dream. This album was disrespected when it came out, and I think it's kind of disrespected to this day because not that many people appreciate the song. This album, sorry. Uh, this album does have songs like The Catalyst, which are quite amazing and I love so much. Iridescent, an amazing song that I love. Uh, I'm trying to think of other songs. I'm blanking. Burning in the Skies. Uh, it's an amazing album. I would say that the only thing that holds it back it's the interludes and some of like the speeches. Um, I would say listening to this album from front to back is a bit jarring with the interludes and the speeches and the intros. So I can see why a lot of people don't rock with this album like that, but pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. Then their fifth album is Living Things. And honestly, I do like three songs from this album. I do love Powerless, I do love I'll Be Gone, and I do love Castle of Glass. Lost in the Echo is good too, but I feel like that song kind of like aged like milk. Burn It Down is a great song as well. I forgot to mention that song. But I think, honestly, I don't think I listen to this album that much. So I might put it in I Become So Numb, but yeah, I'll put it in I Become So Numb because there are some parts of other songs that I do like, but I don't play it as much as I do with these four. So I'll just leave it here. It's a it was a great album at the time, but I feel like as time has gone on, this album has kind of aged with the whole EDM dance from 2012. Even though A Thousand Suns is EDM, the production it doesn't feel like it has aged, unlike Living Things. So I'll leave Living Things around. I Become So Numb. I'm probably thinking about putting it in the third tier, but I'm gonna just leave it there. Next, we have The Hunting Party. The Hunting Party, honestly, I've given up. I do like this album, but I can see why people don't like this album at all because I would say songwriting wise, it's lacking, and I feel like it takes so long for a song to start. Like it's like some songs on this album don't start until like over a minute, and it could be a bit like okay, let's get on with it. There are great songs on this album, such as Final Masquerade, uh, Guilty as the Same, and Keys to the Kingdom, and War. War is an amazing song, but I would say All for Nothing. I kind of don't like because I feel like lyrically they could have done something a lot better. So I'll just leave it there. Even though I do want to put it in I Become Some Numb, I don't play it as much as I do Living Things. Then we have the last album we have with Chester Bennington, One More Light. And honestly, this album is kind of sad. I do remember this was 2017 when I was getting into the world of music. And I remember people hating this album. I heard it and I didn't hate it, but I could see why people did not like this album at all, especially old Linkin Park fans that wanted Hybrid Theory 2.0 or Meteor 2.0. But this album isn't trash, but there are bad songs on this album, quite a bit. I would say that the only two songs I do love and listen to this from this album are the title track "One More Light," which is quite sad, and it's kind of hard for me to listen to it because it's super sad, especially after what happened on this day 8 years ago. That song is so beautiful, "One More Light," and I don't think the new Linkin Park will ever perform this song, and I'm 100% okay with that because that's a very emotional song, and it means a lot to us Linkin Park fans and a lot to Chester at the time. So yeah, and the other song that I do like is "Heavy" with Kiara. Kiara does a pretty good job as a feature, and the song is pretty good. I do love the chorus. The verses are, a bit poppy. Julia Michaels, I think, co-wrote this song, and yeah, but the rest of the album, it's not that good. And I blame the production. The production reminds me of a bit of Avicii mixed with the Chainsmokers, and yeah, like like Living Things, this album kind of aged like milk. But I think I'll put it under Living Things because Living Things at least consistently has good songs with shitty production. Meanwhile, One More Light has odd choices on the production with two good songs, and everything else is just meh. And then finally, we have From Zero, the latest album, and the first album with the new Linkin Park as Emily Armstrong on as the lead singer. And honestly, I think it should belong in I Found Bliss in Ignorance. This album, I feel like I would recommend giving it a chance. It's not as bad as people say. Just because Chester's not on it doesn't mean it's bad. Um, I would say this album reminds me of Minutes to Midnight mixed with a little bit of Hybrid Theory and Meteor. I think it's like almost every single album except The Hunting Party in one. And I do love some of the songs on this album, such as The Emptiness Machine. That's an amazing song. Over Each Other is a great song. Overflow, Two Faced. Come on. That was a great song. Good Things Go. But there are some songs on this album that I don't like. Um, but I would say there is a cohesiveness on this album, and I think it plays it pretty safe. It's a good album, but it's not as great as some of their past work, but it's not as bad as some of their previous works. So I think this is how I would rank it. I would put Meteora and Hybrid Theory in S tier, Minutes to Midnight and A Thousand Suns and Bring Me Home in the Blinding Dream. I Found Bliss in Ignorance has From Zero, Living Things and One More Light on I Become So Numb, and The Hunting Party on I've Given Up. I think this is the list that I would be happy with. But yeah, so like let me know how would you rank these Linkin Park albums from best to worst. Like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. I promise. Next time. Bye.